Think of a behavior that you would love from others more in your school or your classroom because what gets praised gets promoted. If we want to boil motivation down into the most basic idea, it's that approach avoid. We approach things that give us pleasant emotions like pride through affirmation and praise. We tend to avoid things that give us unpleasant emotions like sadness or anger from being criticized. And this is true in a lot of different contexts. It's true if you are a family trying to train your puppy not to pee in the house. It's true if you're a tech company trying to increase engagement. It is true if you're a classroom teacher or leader trying to get your students or staff to have some sort of behavior. However, not all praise is created equally. And in this video, we're going to unpack some of the principles of praise. If we are going to praise people, which we should be, we should do it in a way that actually links to the behaviors we want in a healthy, positive, motivational way. These are my principles of praise. I'm Chase, helping you increase the effectiveness of learning through the effectiveness of teaching. Welcome to Effective Teaching in Action. So let's start with principle number one. It is to praise the effort that leads to the results, not just the results themselves. Now, we could get real nerdy around the research, like growth mindset research and self-determination theory, but really this kind of boils down to if we want to promote certain efforts, we should be praising that effort. Now, schools think we do a good job sometimes, but some of our structures and systems send a mixed message. Like the type of work that gets posted up in classrooms is often the results of the effort, not the progress of effort that led to those results. The kids on this stage that get acknowledged at graduation, we're acknowledging the end result, not necessarily the process it took to get there. But it's not like results don't matter. Results and effort both matter, but we promote the former, the results, when we praise the latter, the efforts that go along. So be thinking about, how can I praise the effort? How can I display progress pieces in my classroom or in my organization? How do I show that it's not just the end result that matters, it's also the effort, the skills, the strategies that we needed to get to those results? Now, you may be thinking, if I wait for the perfect effort, like I'm going to be waiting forever and then I'm going to praise nothing. Now, first of all, we have to unpack the effort of the end result versus like the most baby version of that effort. Sometimes we do have to affirm effort that seems like a no-brainer that kids should do naturally, like picking up a pencil or like actually raising a hand or turning in an assignment, because we cannot reinforce behavior that doesn't exist. Sometimes just get that initial baby version of that effort and then start to praise it. Now, another challenge a lot of educators have is they're like, I have kids who they're so used to being praised for their effort, they think that any effort matters. So we have to praise the right efforts. Realize that praise isn't your only option. There's also this beautiful thing called feedback. Now, feedback can be even sometimes more powerful than just false praise, because feedback is what instills that sense of hope. It gives action steps. It helps individuals know that we believe in their growth, not just this moment in time. So be thinking about, how can I, if I'm not going to give praise, at least give some specific action-oriented feedback so that those that I serve, like, actually want to put in those efforts that then I can praise and create those motivational loops. Our third principle here is, don't praise everything. We have to see our words like currency. We have to see praise like currency. If we are constantly praising all day long, number one, it's going to be hard to do that authentically. Number two, people aren't really going to buy into each individual moment of praise. So it is okay not to praise everything, because what we really want is when that moment of praise to happen, it is authentic. Like, we probably all know that person that doesn't just dole out praise like crazy, but when they say something positive, it means so much to us. So consider the use of variable praise that is varied up, meaning it's not always given at the exact same moment or in the same format or the same context, the same words, because the more variety we have, the more each individual moment of praise actually stands out. Principle number 4 is, I'm going to recommend that you praise groups in public, individuals in private. Now, sometimes it feels like we're empowering an individual, a student, by praising them in front of others, but not everyone wants that sort of attention. A second challenge with praising individuals in public is it can create this idea of like the teacher's pet. can be embarrassing for students where they're like, I don't really want that sort of affirmation. My friends are going to give me a bunch of flack for this. So it can cause some embarrassment, which is counter to our efforts to motivate. A third challenge of praising individuals in public is sometimes we're actually managing behavior, not giving authentic praise. You've probably been in those classrooms before where the teacher's like, oh, Susie is working so quietly. Thank you, Susie. I'm so proud of Susie in this moment. Like, we're not really giving Susie authentic praise here. We're just trying to like send a message to others that we want them to act more like Susie, which again creates more division than it actually creates motivation. Now, praising groups in groups can create some of that cohesion that everyone gets acknowledged in this moment. So if you are going to praise individuals, look for moments to do that individually or privately. That can be through an email, it can be through a little sticky note, it can be as students are walking in or leaving the classroom, because that individual attention to detail is going to create so much more value, so much more authenticity in that moment. Praise groups and groups. Try to praise individuals individually. Now, a fifth principle here is that praise is not just verbal, it's also non-verbal. We can have the great words, but if our non-verbals are not authentic, that's gonna speak way more volume. So if we're just like, good job, thank you for sharing, good, well done, like those non-verbals are sending the message that like, this isn't authentic, this isn't real. At the same time, if we are overly exuberant and exaggerated in our nonverbals, it's going to lose its authenticity. So try to reflect on your nonverbals. Are you praising authentically because you truly believe that this effort was worth being acknowledged? If not, you can hold off because we don't have to praise every effort that happens. So although there are many action steps you could take from these principles, here's my biggest recommendation. Videotape yourself teaching for a 10-minute chunk of interaction with students, especially in a moment where students are doing work and you're bouncing around or you're doing some whole group discussion, because number one, you'll notice how often you do or don't praise. Number two, you'll notice your nonverbals of whether they're authentic or not. And number three, you'll have some insight into what extent I'm actually praising the effort and not just the results in this moment. We should not fear praise because what gets praised gets promoted. We approach things like positive emotions and pride. And so if we want more behaviors of a certain kind in schools or classrooms, then we need to acknowledge the efforts that go into those behaviors. But not all praise is created equally. Reflect on these principles, and I'd be curious to know what you would add to this conversation. What principles do you abide by to make sure that your praise is authentic? It is linked to and creates the types of behaviors that we want more of in schools. Share some of your thoughts in the comments. As always, feel free to hit like, subscribe, share this out with others who also value positive emotions in the classroom and in the school setting. And until next time, I am Chase, helping you boost the effectiveness of learning through the effectiveness of teaching. Cheers, and I'll see you next time.